I realized I was on mute. Hi, Nupur. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching the content on YouTube, the channel. We're going to start in some time. Meanwhile, you can think of questions you want to ask. We'll be starting in 2 minutes. And please type your questions on the comment box. And those who type first, we can start with those questions. So in the comment box, on the chat box, you can type your questions, and I'll be taking those questions one by one. So Nupur has already asked a question. I'll just start in a couple of minutes, just waiting for a few other people to join. Okay, so let's begin. So, a lot of you have been asking these questions directly during sessions and also over messages. Now, some common questions that I've often seen everyone asking is, why does job searching make me feel so anxious or depressed? And is it normal to take rejection this personally? And why do I feel guilty every time I'm not searching for a job? So these are questions. Then, how do I stop replaying interviews in my head? So whenever there is an interview and there is a rejection, um, how how do I stop myself from replaying that again and again? How to avoid panic? Um, how much honest should I be during my CV or interview? How many rejections are all right, or should I change my career? So these are like some common questions which I have been getting from everybody. So now I will start with the questions that have come in the sequence. So Nupur asked that how to deal with rejection in interview. So um, if we look at things generally, we don't deal with rejections well at all. It is not just an interview, but ever since our childhood, we it's not nice to be so-called rejected when we don't get good marks, or when someone doesn't become our friend, or or our family does not listen to us. We face rejections at various intervals in life. So naturally, as human beings, there is an issue with rejection. Um, Now, when you get rejection in an interview, what to do is that don't take that rejection personally. You have not been rejected. Some skill set that you provided may not have aligned or met the requirement of the employer. So they have not rejected you, they have rejected your CV, and not entire CV, some aspects of the CV. So, in fact, each rejection in an interview can be taken as an opportunity that there's something that is missing or adding up. Problem that happens is when there is a rejection, we think everything is wrong. Everything is wrong with me. Everything is wrong with my CV or skill set. No, there is only some portion which needs to be corrected. If you have reached the interview round, it means that you possess the necessary skill set, that you are eligible to reach that job requirement. Now, in the interview, because they have to interview a lot of people for a single position, they might prefer a certain point in the CV over yours, and that is something you need to understand. That what is that missing point? So that is I feel would help. Now, another question that's come is that how to know you have studied enough to go for that interview. Um, it depends a lot on our personality as well. So some of us who are very sincere and who are very um, who are very um, like who have a certain perfectionist mindset. So they always feel that that there is still something to be done. They're never satisfied. So in fact, if you ask the question that am I ever satisfied that I have prepared enough or I'm doing enough, I don't think you will ever be satisfied. So what we can do is we can do a certain barter system. Like let me aim to be 70% prepared. Maybe 60-70% preparation is my ideal zone to be in. Because there's a 30-40% level of uncertainty which nobody can control. Maybe the person who's interviewing you is maybe very rude, or maybe the person who is interviewing you is himself or herself not very knowledgeable. So no matter how much you have prepared for the interview, sometimes you might feel you are unprepared because the person who's interviewing you is not uh, 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 I think is not that strong in skill set. So so that is why we can aim for a 60-70% preparation. So means we can write down a few pointers before the interview that these things I think would need to be covered. So and most important thing I feel you should do is that when you prepare for an interview, you should have a small summary and understanding of the work you have already done in your current job, because that is normal uh, interviewing technique that the employer starts with, that they starts with asking what you've been doing. And if you and maybe you have been doing a lot but you have not summarized it or you have not made pointers, then what will happen is that when you will explain about your job you will not sound confident. It recently happened to one of my clients that she has really done well in her current job and she went for a job interview. Now she prepared a lot about that company, but she did not do a run through about the job that she was already doing. So when they asked her to share about what she was doing, she rushed with it and she got confused. And that was, according to her, one of the primary reasons she did not get through the interview. So the key lies in aiming for a 60-70% preparation, in which one portion needs to be um, the work that you have already done, and then the second portion can be the questions related to that company's profile. And it's very important that those of you who feel underprepared, you can write those questions in a Word document and you can read them out in practice. You can read them again and again to yourself. In this way, when you are repeating those words in the interview, they will sound confident. So these are a few things I suggest. Any other question that, so those who have joined, so how we are doing this live stream is, if you have any questions related to job search or career, any anxiety around it, you can type in the comment box and then I'm answering those questions. I've already answered two questions, and so I'll request if you can ask other questions. Okay, so another question has come is that how to know whether my CV is good. Um, so there are various ways to understand that whether your CV is good. And I'm talking from a psychology perspective, because there's a psychology behind even job search. There's a psychology of the algorithm that is also used. Um, so so what happens is that there are some stages which helps us understand whether our our CV is good enough. The first stage is that when you apply for jobs and you have been regularly applying and you don't get any call, you don't get any call for even the first round or even a query from the HR. Now, if you have been doing that for a few months and the queries are not coming, it means your CV is not giving the clarity, or it is not getting that visibility. So something needs to be changed in the formatting. That is first stage to understand. The second stage is that okay, you have been asked um, for like you've been like you got a call from the HR, and then they ask about your CV, and then they schedule a technical round. Now, when you start getting these such kind of calls, it means your CV is good enough to be able to pass the first round. Post that, it is about how you pass the technical rounds. Another stage in which the CV helps is when um, you have an interview round, when you have the final round. So sometimes in your CV, you may have mentioned a lot of things which you might be underprepared for, or you might have overshared in the CV. Now that can be slightly tricky. Um, you know, so these are points to remember. And now the next question is that sometimes I get really panicked through the interview, how to deal with it. And I've tried back counting to calm myself, but still feel very nervous. Yes, absolutely. It really happens, very much happens to all of us. It used to happen to me a lot. Um, so if you are somebody who has just started giving interviews, whenever you're starting to do something, you're not having a lot of experience with it, there is going to be anxiousness. There is going to be panic. But what I suggest is that 10 minutes before you go in an interview, don't talk to others, don't use your mobile phone, don't listen to any song, just put your phone on off and just do a simple deep breathing. It's because whenever you deep breathe, even if you don't realize, but you are signaling your body to calm down. So I always tell a simple deep breathing means you inhale from nose and exhale from mouth, like This is the most simple deep breathing that you can do. What you can also do is you can close your eyes and you can focus on the sounds, you can focus on your breath. You can actually tell your senses one by one. So we call this a 5 4 3 2 1 technique. If you search about it, on YouTube, you can even search it on my channel. It's available, and you can practice doing that. So it's like you're signaling your body to calm down. Now, if you start practicing this, I'm not saying it's going to change in 2 interviews, but if you regularly practice this, if you give yourself that 10-minute cutoff before the interview starts, then um, you're going to feel better. Also, another, uh, I think, one more tip that you can try is when you come in the interview, you sit. Um, don't focus on the people in front of you. Focus on your body language. Make sure that you are comfortable. You are taking time to settle down. If you're sitting in a very tight manner, then it's going to reflect in the way you'll speak. So very important that during the interview you focus on just keeping your body relaxed, like like something like this. So and as you're going to progress one by one, you're going to feel better. Um, then another question that comes is how to negotiate with HR. Okay. Yes. So how to negotiate with HR is so I'm assuming that's when you've already got the job and you're negotiating the salary and everything. Now, uh, now the thing is that um, see, there's something called mindful negotiation and something called mindless negotiation. Now, mindless negotiation is where you simply go for money and you are, competing with money. Now, that is where I think, um, you know, um, uh, like it's important not to make it very embarrassing. So before you go for a job, you need to be very clear of what are your expectations. Now, if you're earning say 50,000 and you have an expectation of 70 or 18, whatever, you need to be like very clear about that. So your expectations need to be set beforehand. And was expect and I'm sure when you start applying for the job, you have a fair idea in the first call itself of what is the package being offered. Now, so when you get that offer from the HR, um, it's important that if it meets your criteria that you had set before you applied. Suppose you had aimed for a 75 from 50 and you get a 70 or a 72. It means, okay, that's almost matching. So you can, um, maybe negotiate a bit. So you can negotiate around like what I always tell people is um, a 10-20% negotiable is fine. Like it all depends on what professions you are and everything. But more important than money negotiation is whether the job aligns with what you're doing, whether the job aligns with something that you will do. Because if the job is not aligning and you are wholly focused on money, in fact, it happened to one of my clients a few months back, that she deliberately negotiated for a very big pay cut. Pay increase. And, she really fought for a lot of rounds. She got the pay increase. Now, um, she put her entire energy on the pay increase and not the skills, not the kind of profile she's going to get. And the moment she joined, she quit 2 months later because while she enjoyed the first two salaries, she was not able to. She shared that I realized I did not focus on the profile at all. So as long as your basic criteria around expectations is met, um, I think you're going to do fine. I also don't encourage people to look for very big jumps in one job because suppose you go for a very very high like increase, double, triple increase. What happens is that it also impacts on your um, workload. So if people are giving you a double and triple increase, then there's a sudden requirement to push your skill set or your productivity. And then what happens is that it really creates a very cats and dogs situation where unless we do this, we are going to lose. So idea is not to get hungry about money, but to get realistic. The best way to earn more money is to improve your skill set and grow in the job. Because if you will grow in the job, you're naturally going to get very good rises. You're going to get increasing opportunities. You're also going to get better opportunities when you'll change a job because you'll move at the next level. So that's why keep negotiation with HR very basic, like not like really getting too stressed about it. Any other questions that anyone has? Thank you so much for participating so much and asking like so many questions. One thing I also want to address, and meanwhile, if you have any question, just feel free to type it. One thing I also feel that there's a the way we apply for jobs is a very anxious. So see, the key to succeeding in job search is the key to handling your anxiety. So searching for a job is a very anxious thing. You're very anxious all the time. So now it's so generally when people search for jobs, they that flow is very erratic. That so there are going to be days when they will apply a lot. They will suddenly sit for 3 days and make hundreds of applications, and then they will get so exhausted. Then they will not apply for 10 days. So every time they start applying for a job, it is a very anxious situation. So um, so what is important is that consistency in job search is important. So even if you make two applications in one day, but you are doing it daily for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, that is the best way in which you are acclimatizing and the algorithm that you are applying to is also acclimatizing. But once we're very erratic, then our relationship with job search is always going to be like this. Second thing is that don't apply through phones. I hate this concept of applying through mobile because what happens is while you're applying for a mobile, you also have a pop-up from YouTube. You also have an Instagram reel that you are seeing. Sit on properly on a computer on a laptop, and then save your like have one folder where you've saved your CV, everything. Then search and apply properly. In this way, you're going to learn from each job application. Now, the next question is in the interview, if I am not sure about an answer, what should I do in such a situation? Um, if you don't know an answer, please tell that that um, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of this answer, and it's very clearly to say that I'm not able to recall this. Um, so instead of saying I don't know, I'm not able to recall this. If it is something that is totally irrelevant or you have heard for the first time, please be honest. Idea is that once you start trying to show who you're not, that's where it becomes a problem. See, when you go to a job interview, you can't control the outcome. Sometimes you give your best and you will still not get a job. So the idea is to how to make that process convenient, how to make that process easy. So don't start trying. If you don't know something, say I don't know it. If you don't know something properly, say I'm not able to recall. That's all right. But the but once you come back from the interview, write down those questions that were asked that you got blank on and prepare so that the next time those questions are asked, you're able to answer. Problem is when you're asked the same questions in each interview and you still don't know the answer. So you can't control. There are going to be many questions that you will not know. And believe me, when they're asking you questions, they are also not expecting you to know everything. They're also, they also have some questions they want to like run through. So इसलिए, the goal is not to answer every question. Goal is to handle the interview properly. That is more important. अब अगर आपको कुछ आता नहीं है, कोई चीज़ उन्होंने पूछी है आपको नहीं आती है, आप सडनली तो सीखने ही जाओगे 2 मिनट में. So that's why accept that I'm going to share what I know, and if I don't know something, that's all right. I can go back and learn it. But उस समय इंटरव्यू में मैं कुछ नहीं सीख सकता. Now, another question. So we have about 8 or 10 minutes more. So I'll quickly address these questions. So when you are in current job, how to know it's time to actually move on, and how to explain the same to interviewer the reason for the search. Um, So one thing is very clear. If you are changing a job after 3 months, 6 months, no answer to this. So because um, it takes 1 year, minimum 1 year, to really be able to understand whether you are adding any value to the company and the company is adding any value to you. If you are leaving in less than 1 year, if you start, searching for jobs, like right after you join, like not a good sign. It will take at least give yourself at least 1 year to acclimatize. So if by 1 year you feel maybe by the ninth or 10th month or that okay it's not working out, you can start applying. But 1 year is important because um, not only does it show confusion in the CV, it will also make you a very anxious person that you will never develop the ability to handle difficult situations. You will always feel like quitting, and quitting is a bad habit. That's why 1 year, minimum 1 year, if preferably more, but minimum 1 year before you move. And also how to handle 2 months notice period when the interviewer is looking for immediate joining. Don't panic. Any good interviewer, any good company, if they're hiring you for a good role, they will give you the bandwidth. 2 months back, every good company today and a good employer knows that at least a 2 months notice is there. So, and you need to be confident of this because what happens is that you will spoil your relationship with your current organization. So, 2 months notice period is obviously fair enough. If you have a notice period in your company which is more than that, obviously you can go back to your company and negotiate. But 2 months notice is be very confident in the interview that it is a 2 months notice. And if they ask you to join a bit quickly, you can say that I'm going to ask my organization if it's possible for them. In fact, but that's also risky because if you go back and you tell them that I'm joining another company, then you will have to leave. So I think you need to respect your notice period. Good companies will respect notice period because if a company is too eager to hire you quickly, maybe they will be too eager to let you go also. Um, but these are relevant questions. So see, whenever there's panic and anxiety related to anything, only practice helps. So that's why the more interviews you give, the more situations you meet, after a while you are going to get familiar. After 10 or 15 interviews, you will figure out, "Yacha, this much to I can handle." Any other question anyone has? We're like really happy that people have been asking a lot of questions. So I will also be conducting regular short live streams like this on managing our mental health, addressing job things, and it will be happening now like regularly once in 2 or 3 days. Um, can be, so those who are on the call, can they Can they actually share the timings that they suit? I'm planning to, so if you can give me a slot in the morning that works for you and the slot in night that works for you, then I can, like, think of doing something around it. Okay. So 10 a.m. is good. Okay, I can try to keep that once in 2 or 3 days, and where we'll not just discuss about job. We're going to discuss about various other topics that are relevant to us. Okay, 10 or 11, perfect, and 9 in the evening, perfect, perfect. We can do that. So, so I think we are reaching time now. So thank you for joining. So this live stream will naturally get uploaded in my channel. So when you will go to my channel, there is an option for video, shorts, and live. So when you see the live, then the recording of this entire session is going to be uploaded there. So in case you want to go back and refer to a few things, or you want to ask your friends or anyone else to, like, like, go through that in case it helps, please feel free to do so. But thank you very much and have a good day, and take a fresh start. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.